All right, so today we're diving into um, the world of a ninth century scholar.
Ooh, ninth century.
Ninth century. His name is Al-Khwarizmi,
Okay.
and you might be thinking Al who?
Yeah.
And that's okay.
Right.
But this guy is often called the father of computer science.
Huh. Wow. Ninth century?
Ninth century.
Father of computer science.
Yeah, pretty intriguing, right?
That's a title that definitely sparks curiosity. How can somebody
Yeah.
from that era be linked to a field that feels
Like-
so modern?
Exactly, and that's what we're going to kind of try to unpack today.
Yeah.
We have some excerpts from an essay
Okay.
called The Legacy of Al-Khwarizmi to guide us.
Okay.
And so we're on a mission to uncover why he earned that title, Father of Computer Science,
Okay.
and how his work still impacts us even today.
Right.
So first things first, can you paint a picture of Al-Khwarizmi's world for us?
Hmm.
Like, what was going on back then?
So imagine ninth century Baghdad.
Okay.
It's the heart of the Islamic Golden Age, a global intellectual hub. Think scholars from all corners of the world, mathematicians, astronomers,
Oh, wow.
philosophers, all converging in a city,
Yeah.
buzzing with the exchange of ideas.
So
It was like the Silicon Valley of its time.
like a melting pot of knowledge.
Absolutely.
Okay, so Baghdad,
Yes.
ninth century,
Mhm.
this melting pot
Center of learning.
makes you wonder what kind of work could flourish in an environment like that.
Well, this is where Al-Khwarizmi produces his most famous work.
Okay.
A book with a title that's a mouthful, even for us.
Okay.
Al-Kitab al-Mukhtasar fi al-Jabr wal-Muqabala.
Oh my gosh.
Try saying that 3 times fast.
I'm already stumbling over that. What does it even mean?
It translates to the compendious book on calculation by completion and balancing,
Okay.
and it introduced something revolutionary,
Okay.
algebra as a formal discipline.
Wait, so algebra as we know it today
Yes.
comes from this book.
It does.
That's incredible.
It is, and the word algebra itself comes from the Arabic word al-Jabr, meaning completion or restoration,
Okay.
which perfectly describes what you do when you're solving an equation.
Okay.
You are restoring balance.
Gotcha.
Before this book, solving equations was more of a trial and error process,
Oh,
sometimes relying on geometric approaches.
interesting.
Al-Khwarizmi made it systematic, creating a whole new way of thinking about math.
Okay, so he gave us algebra, but there's more to his legacy, right?
Yes. Yes.
Didn't he also contribute something else that's like fundamental to computer science?
You're thinking of algorithms.
Algorithms.
Al-Khwarizmi's work, especially in arithmetic and solving equations, contributed to developing these step-by-step instructions for calculations.
And the word algorithm comes from
His name.
his name, mind officially blown.
Yes.
But how do these ninth century algorithms connect to the technology we use daily?
Think about it.
Yeah.
Algorithms are at the heart of everything digital.
Okay.
The apps on your phone,
Uh-huh.
the software you use,
Okay.
search engines, social media feeds, online shopping recommendations, all driven by algorithms.
It's like they're everywhere.
They are everywhere. These step-by-step instructions tell computers how to process information and solve problems. And the foundation for that was laid centuries ago.
So his work wasn't just theoretical, it had practical implications that are still shaping our world.
Absolutely.
That's pretty amazing.
It is.
But his influence wasn't limited to the Islamic world, was it? His work spread to Europe too, right?
Absolutely. By the 12th century, Latin translations of his work reached Europe,
Yeah.
and they had a profound impact.
Interesting.
It was like a catalyst for the European Renaissance, playing a key role in reawakening mathematical thought.
Wow.
Figures like Fibonacci and later Renaissance thinkers were all influenced by his writings.
Wow. So one person's work from centuries ago has had this ripple effect,
It really is.
shaping intellectual history across cultures.
Absolutely.
That's fascinating.
It is.
But I have to ask, beyond the historical significance,
Right.
why should this matter to us today?
That's a great question, because it's easy to dismiss this as ancient history.
Right.
However, Al-Khwarizmi's legacy is deeply woven into the fabric of our modern world.
Okay.
His contributions to algebra, algorithms, geography, and astronomy,
Wow.
even if we don't see them directly, are the building blocks of our technological age.
So we're talking.
Every time you use a computer,
Yeah.
a smartphone,
Mm-hmm.
or even navigate with GPS, you're benefiting from the groundwork he laid centuries ago.
So it's like
We are surrounded by
Yeah.
his legacy,
Wow.
even if we don't realize it.
Yeah, that's incredible.
Yeah, it really is remarkable when you think about it.
It is?
We take these technologies for granted,
Right.
but they're built on a foundation
Right.
of ideas that originated centuries ago.
And you mentioned Al-Khwarizmi's contributions to geography.
Yes?
Which we haven't really explored yet.
Right.
He wrote a book called Kitab Surat al-Ard,
Yes.
or The Image of the Earth.
Yes.
What can you tell us about that?
Well, this book is fascinating
Okay.
because it essentially builds upon the work of the great geographer,
Okay.
Ptolemy, whose geography was like the standard text
Oh, wow.
for centuries. But Al-Khwarizmi didn't simply copy Ptolemy.
Okay.
He corrected and refined his work.
So he was like fact-checking.
He was fact-checking,
Okay.
incorporating the latest knowledge and observations.
Okay, so almost like a 9th century
Almost like a
Google Maps update.
Google Maps update.
Yeah.
Yes, constantly improving.
Constantly improving.
The map,
The map of the world.
that's a great analogy. He even included coordinates
Oh, wow.
for major cities, mountains, seas, and rivers,
Wow.
striving for a more accurate and comprehensive representation
Okay.
of the Earth. And remember, this was all long before satellites and GPS.
It makes you appreciate
It does.
the dedication and painstaking effort involved
Absolutely.
in mapping the world back then.
Yes.
And speaking of calculations,
Okay.
didn't Al-Khwarizmi also play a role in, like, determining the Earth's circumference?
Yes. And his results were remarkably accurate,
Wow.
considering the tools and methods available at the time.
That's amazing.
He participated in a project
Yeah.
that involved measuring the length of a degree of latitude
Okay.
on the Earth's surface, allowing them to extrapolate the entire circumference.
So we've got this incredible mathematician who gave us algebra, laid the groundwork for algorithms,
Uh-huh.
and contributed significantly to our understanding of geography.
Yes.
Is there anything this guy didn't do?
Well, his expertise didn't stop there.
Okay.
He also delved into the world of astronomy,
Astronomy. Okay.
writing several treatises on various astronomical topics,
Wow.
including the construction and use of instruments like the astrolabe.
Oh, wow.
These instruments were essential for navigation, timekeeping,
Okay.
and observing the stars.
I have to admit, I'm feeling a little intellectually inadequate over here.
Well,
It's amazing how his work spanned
it is.
across so many different fields.
Yeah. It speaks to the interconnectedness of knowledge,
Yeah.
especially during the Islamic Golden Age.
Right.
Math, geography, and astronomy weren't seen as separate disciplines.
Hmm.
They were all part of a larger pursuit of understanding the world and our place in it.
And that's a perspective
We could,
we could benefit from today.
yes,
We often get so specialized
we do.
in our fields that we forget the connections and the bigger picture.
Exactly. But getting back to Al-Khwarizmi,
Okay.
we've talked about his achievements, his impact on science and technology.
Yeah.
What about the man himself?
Right.
What do we know about his personality, his life beyond
Yeah.
the scholarly work?
That's a great question.
It would be fascinating to get a glimpse
Yeah.
into the mind of such a brilliant figure.
Right.
Unfortunately, historical records are quite sparse
Oh,
when it comes to personal details.
really?
About Al-Khwarizmi, we know very little
Okay.
about his family, his upbringing, or his day-to-day life.
That's too bad. But we can imagine him in the House of Wisdom in Baghdad, surrounded by scrolls and instruments,
Right.
collaborating with other scholars, pushing the boundaries of knowledge.
It's a powerful image,
It is.
isn't it? And it reminds us that even though centuries separate us,
Right.
he was a real person,
Yeah.
driven by curiosity and a passion for discovery,
Right.
just like the scientists
Right.
and researchers of today.
And his work, driven by that curiosity,
Mhm.
ultimately changed the course of history.
It did.
But I'm guessing not everyone was immediately receptive
That's true.
to his ideas.
It's absolutely true.
I mean, new ideas.
Right.
Especially groundbreaking ones like his
Yes.
often face resistance, right?
Not everyone embraced his algebraic methods
Okay.
right away.
Yeah.
Some clung to the traditional approaches to problem solving, finding his abstract concepts too challenging
Okay.
or even suspicious. Remember, this was a time when mathematics
Right.
was often intertwined with philosophical and religious beliefs.
So introducing a new system,
Yes.
and especially one that challenged established ways of thinking,
Exactly.
was bound to create some pushback.
Precisely. And the same can be said for his geographical work.
Oh, okay.
Challenging Ptolemy's view of the world, even with more accurate data,
Yeah.
wouldn't have been easy.
Right.
But in the end, the elegance, logic, and effectiveness of Al-Khwarizmi's methods couldn't be ignored.
Right.
They simply worked.
It's a reminder that progress isn't always
It's not.
smooth sailing.
Right.
There will always be resistance to change.
There will.
a reluctance to let go of old ideas.
Absolutely.
But what's important is that we continue to explore,
Yes.
to question, and to push the boundaries of knowledge.
Push the boundaries.
Just like Al-Khwarizmi did.
Exactly.
And speaking of pushing boundaries,
Yes.
it's time to connect the dots between Al-Khwarizmi's work
Okay.
and the incredible technological advancements we see today.
Right.
From smartphones to artificial intelligence.
Yeah.
His fingerprints are everywhere.
They are.
But we'll delve into that fascinating discussion
We will.
after a quick moment to gather our thoughts.
Oh.
Stay with us. And we're back, ready to explore how Al-Khwarizmi's work from the 9th century laid the groundwork for some of the most incredible technological advancements
It really is remarkable
that we use every day.
to consider that this scholar working with quill and parchment
Yeah.
could have any concept of the technologies his work would influence centuries later.
Right.
Smartphones, artificial intelligence, the internet,
Yeah, it boggles the mind.
it boggles the mind.
So how do we draw a line from 9th century algebra
Right.
to the algorithms that power things like our social media feeds?
Yeah.
It seems like a huge leap.
It all boils down to fundamental principles.
Okay.
Al-Khwarizmi provided a systematic way to solve problems
Nah.
and perform calculations.
Right.
He essentially created a framework for logical thinking
Okay.
and step-by-step instructions, and that's the essence of algorithms.
So those algorithms that determine what ads we see
Yes.
or what posts pop up on our feeds, they're built on the same foundation as
Precisely.
Al-Khwarizmi's mathematical methods.
Precisely, of course, the scale and complexity today
Right.
are vastly different, but those core principles
Right.
of logical steps, instructions, and calculations are at play.
So I like these.
It's like he provided the basic ingredients
Yeah.
for a recipe.
Okay.
And over the centuries, we've become very creative
I like that.
with what we can bake.
Yeah. Love that analogy.
Yes.
And speaking of getting creative,
Right.
let's talk about artificial intelligence.
Okay.
One of the most rapidly evolving fields in technology.
Yes.
How does Al-Khwarizmi fit into that picture?
Well, artificial intelligence relies heavily on algorithms, on processing massive amounts of data and making decisions based on patterns and calculations.
Hey, where do those algorithms?
And where do those algorithms trace their roots?
Yeah.
Back to those principles that Al-Khwarizmi established.
So when we ask our virtual assistant a question
Yes.
or see a self-driving car on the road, we're witnessing a ripple effect
You are.
from his work all those centuries ago.
It's a testament to the power of those fundamental ideas, how they can resonate through time.
It makes you wonder what seemingly niche
It does.
or theoretical work happening right now will have a similar ripple effect
Exactly.
centuries from now.
That is a humbling thought.
It makes everyday worries seem pretty insignificant
It does.
when you think about the grand scheme of things.
Right.
But it's also incredibly inspiring
It is.
to realize how human curiosity and ingenuity can shape the course of history
Yes.
in such profound ways.
I agree. Al-Khwarizmi's story reminds us that knowledge knows no boundaries.
Yeah.
Ideas can transcend time and culture.
Right.
And a single person can have a lasting impact on the world.
And that's what the deep dive is all about, right?
It is.
Uncovering these hidden connections, appreciating the giants whose shoulders we stand on, and sparking our own curiosity.
Yes, it's been a pleasure joining you on this intellectual journey.
It's been great having you.
We hope you've gained some new insights and a fresh perspective, maybe even feel inspired to explore further on your own.
If you're eager to learn more about Al-Khwarizmi and his world, check out the resources we've linked in the show notes.
They're a great starting point.
They're a great starting point for your own deep dive.
For your own deep dive until next time.
Until next time.
Keep those brains buzzing and those curiosity fires burning.
Happy exploring, everyone.